Oh, hey, don't mind me. I'm just sitting here checking out my new GM screen from the Kickstarter Fateforge. I'm going to review it in this video, so stick around. Alright, so first off, this was a Kickstarter back in September of 2020, and just over 7,500 people with over $500,000 kickstarted this off and got it going. So they estimated delivery in February 2021. It's now March, almost April of 2022, so only a year late. That's not too bad with everything going on. Now, before I get into everything that I got, I want to show off this GM screen. It's actually pretty nice. You saw the outside. Of course, the inside has your typical GM screen shortcuts in there. But what I'm more impressed about is the thickness. This is pretty much book cover quality right in the GM screen, rather than I was expecting maybe a cardboard or something like that. That was pretty stiff, but this is basically like a hardcover book that folds up pretty nicely. Some really neat artwork on there as well. So I can't wait to roll some dice behind this, and well, we'll see what happens to the players. Alright, so a little bit of magic. Let's make some things appear. Alright, so as you can see right off, I kind of went a little bit big. There's even a little bit of pile of stuff right under here. I'll show you in a minute. I had a little bit of plans of splurging, people getting back together, and well, of course, here we are a little bit later and still dealing with it. But now, again, I'm hoping to get a group going soon, so I'm glad this came kind of in time for that. I ended up going with the Fateforge Collector Pack. Now, I'm a little embarrassed to say this did cost about $170, and with shipping, of course, and everything like that. But there's a lot of value in here. As I start going through, you'll see it. There, of course, was the PDFs of these that we got a lot sooner, so that's kind of nice to look through. Then you've got the books. So right off the bat, I'm going to move this one. This is like the treasure box. Has some really neat things in it with the foil on there. I like it, but I'm a little worried about storage. Pretty boxes are nice, but storage is something else. So we have the adventures. This is basically your player handbook, and I got with the Red Dragon, of course, on there, a little bit more limited. And nice artwork on the back as well. And then I'll show off some pages. Neat book so far. Then you got your grimoire. Again, probably as you can guess what it states in there. Mainly centered around your magic, spell casting, everything like that. So some neat ones. Again, hugely thick books. Cover quality is really nice. How many were in here? 317 pages or so in this one alone, and all of them are about there. And I'll point out, they do, kind of hard to see, have the red ribbon in there for your bookmarks. They're just something about physical books, right? Then, of course, you have your creatures, basically your creature manual. Over 200 monsters, some more unique archetypes in there, and playable characters and so forth that they added to that one. Again, really neat artwork on the front there, and 400 odd pages in that one. Then you have your encyclopedia. This is more going to be talking about the mysteries, the history, all the magic behind there, and just really lets you set the scene. Of course, as I should mention, they're 5e compatible. Obviously, very popular gaming system, so why not? And we're looking at over 350 pages in that guy as well. So anyway, that is the books, tons in there. Then one thing I found interesting, I mean, it says miniature channels. I do like miniatures, don't get me wrong. You know, painting them and getting them together can be hard sometimes, right? I mean, we all know that. So there's this creatures box. Familiar artwork, right? Let's open this guy up. Give me a second. Hardest part of this is the anticipation of waiting to open your sealed box. So on the outside, it did have a list of all the different creatures that were in there and some CR ratings for a nice quick reference and what sheet they were located on. Now granted, having the sheet location not going to be super useful once you kind of undo all these. But if you're doing your first play around, yeah, I mean, it can definitely come in handy. So you have some clear plastic bases, nothing too special on them. They're just, you know, your basic bases. So these are the sheets. Obviously they're punch cardboard, and one just came right out. It was also a very big serpent looking thing. But you can see, pretty thick, and your typical punch board size, I would think. There's nothing too crazy about it. But they're all full color, which is nice, and you know, keep the kids busy again. Punch them right out. Pretty simple. More importantly, it's just a pretty nice, simple, colored deal to get you into the game environment a little bit more there, front and back, so that you can kind of enjoy the game immediately playing. Stick them on your base. I mean, I think we all pretty much know how these work, right? Stick them on there. There's 20 bases in there, so you can put them on there. There's also some player characters in here as well. These are all popping out. Again, it's a cool box. I'll show you in the treasure box. They're all going to fit back in there nicely. I might leave some of them done on the board just in case you want to play with them later or as a quick ref. But overall, they shouldn't be too hard to find. You also got a lot of your player characters on there as well. And then you have multiples of some monsters. Obviously, you just need a few things like kobolds and stuff like that, right? That are going to be your typical all over the place monsters. So you pretty much have that. I will show this little cat dude. This is the P-Cat. This was a kind of a custom creature, a little driven by the community, that was put on there. Very colorful and pretty neat. So there was only 6 miniatures that did come along with this. Fairly nice though. So if you wanted to go with the live action version of that, that is possible. And actually pretty nice. It feels it's a kind of injection molded plastic. It almost feels like, I thought they were going to be a resin. It's not really looking like that. They're very clean. I mean, mainly it's the flexibility. I can kind of thinking not so much on the resin, but they are super clean. There's like no cleanup on this guy whatsoever. So that should actually be pretty easy. Base already included with some extras on there. Little gold coins and everything like that, since it, you know, apparently likes to collect treasure is one of its things, right? Just some other familiars that were on there, you know, nothing too super spectacular, but little squirrel on there. And we can kind of go on, which is a little bummer here, noticing this crab. He kind of didn't make it safely. They weren't packed in the box the best. Also very heavy. These books clearly weigh a bit. And these weren't in a box themselves. They were just tossed inside the box along with everything else kind of on top. So I could easily see why things get moved, but I'm going to have to repair this little crab dude. Just slightly on the side there, his arm got snapped off and it's sitting inside the bag at least. Again, they're all about the same quality there. Really nice. I can't complain. They're essentially were kind of like a free miniature, so I'll take it and see if they're useful in the game. The treasure box here, again, beautiful artwork on there. Nice gold foil like etched. Magnet holds it open, so, or closed I guess. Then open it up. And inside you got a few more plastic bases. Looks like 6 of them on there, so you can use those. We got the punch outs. These will look very familiar as they are the player characters again. Number 16. So not so much needed, but if you didn't get the creatures box, at least you got this. You get the player characters, so something kind of there. Inside you also had a map. Little dual-sided map on there. Standard square grid, kind of a dungeon arena, and then the other side maybe a mage tower or something like that with an overall picture of what it kind of looks like. Nice printing detail on those. Again, happy with it. If I'm going to use it, we'll see, maybe in some situations, but I've also got a lot of other things that I've bought previously to kind of go in with role-playing tabletop games. Then you have some artwork here. Some really gorgeous artwork that came along with this. There we go. There's that P-Cat again. They really like it. It's kind of its main thing, right? Akinos Mind. That's an interesting looking one. A little bit more futuristic-y than kind of your cover art. And then this was another pretty well staple and cover art of the standard book, I believe, instead of the collector's edition that I got. Also had more artwork that was in there as well to kind of paint the picture of the scene and what's going on. So I might get a binder that I can slide these into and then show them off to the players as they're going around somewhere. Just the cover artwork. But, you know, if I want to kind of describe a mage scene a little bit better, help pull people into the environment just a little bit more, right? Because ultimately, isn't that what we want? We want to try to dive in and feel immersed into our role-playing. So there was that picture of that lab, right? Or kind of a lab-looking thing, the mind. Well, to go along with that, you have the map. So again, like I said, you got the artwork to go with it, and then you can actually put people right into what's going on, kind of both sides. A little bit more techy. Again, you don't have to use some of these. There's a wide variety. Like I said, that's a little bit more of your sci-fi, but you could go a little bit more simple of your towns, buildings, stuff like that. A little like river house, it kind of looks like. You know, up on the cliff. I like how they have like a little picture of the overall. Again, just kind of help bring you into it and then show it off. Nice detail. I've reviewed a few map things before, and these ones you can tell they have enough detail in there to look nice, but not too much where you're going to drown out the character and take away, but more of just a simple addition kind of into it. Obviously the other side is just blank squares. So a lot of nice maps to go along with that as well. And again, this collector's box, monsters box, whichever I want, all the stuff's going to stack nicely in there, so I can kind of start compacting my storage down a bit. With that, we also have this nice big map. If you really want to draw into the world here, kind of show that there, of all the places, and makes it a lot easier when you're trying to say, hey, let's travel, you know, from one town to another. It already fills in a lot of the names for you. Again, go to the encyclopedia. You're going to have some data in there as well. Bring that story together. So this little portfolio, more artwork there. And again, it's just part of the kind of the collector stuff. Some of the stretch goals and everything. You're just getting a lot more of those buildings and everything else to kind of show off where all your players are going. This was another one that was that map we saw earlier with the kind of in a cliff or a ledge there. That was also a map there. So these are all to visualize and show off a little bit as they kind of come into town and checking things out. All right, I get it. You might be sick of seeing everything, but here's the cartography of it. It's kind of the cartography of Enia. Not really sure how to pronounce it. I need to look back and kind of find that pronunciation, or again, hey, it's going to be mine. I can make it my own. Not as much artwork on this, but more showing off kind of general city and what your different factions or areas are. Drakenberg there. So you've got your different kind of factions and where they are. It's a little bit easier maybe than just reading. You can just kind of look at this and come up with your own thing. But there is a wide variety of environments and everything else going on. So almost whatever your players are going to like, I think you can kind of find something in here. All fits. All right, as you can see, I'm just all putting them right into the box, and there's still a little bit of room in there. Player sheets, of course, gotta have player sheets. Again, these are all the same. So you got 10 sheets here, or 10 pamphlets, I really should say, that are going to include everything. Granted, I guess you could photocopy these, but this is a pretty nice thick paper. Obviously, that's kind of nice. In case you don't use your spells, you can just take that right out. It actually wouldn't be too hard. You just won't have the nice fold on it. Kind of your standard sheet, a little bit differently laid out maybe. So as I said earlier, Adventures was kind of the main handbook. This is your core rules, everything kind of you need. Then you've got your player handbook. Be able to set to your players for creature creation, what's going on in mythology, a little bit of that, kind of a briefer overview of everything that's in there. Kind of your standards, nice weapons, everything like that going on for you. Again, neat artwork, same as the creatures box on the back. Then you have creatures appendix, so we can kind of look at that one. Again, just riddled with artwork across here. Pitch off in the beginning, they kind of laid out really nicely. Again, kind of on your creature rating. Sometimes it's hard to flip through and find what creature is good for this matchup. Look at the CR, or in the creatures box, you had the standees. Another great way to look at it. Then we've got some mission manuals here, all the way up. They're all level 5, kind of 1 through 5. then another 1 through 5, 3 to 5. So I think their general plan is maybe come up with more in the future. Again, with this Kickstarter kind of dragging on, maybe that's kind of messed with their plans a little bit. If you're gonna DM a little bit and have it all laid out there for you again. Maybe don't want to see that last page because you don't like spoilers. Didn't think about that one. So even though it's intended 1 through 5, I don't think this is going to take you all the way to 5 looking at the length of it. So I bet you kind of start, I would start in like one of these two and then kind of go from there and then hit that last one and get a good idea of what you're going to be facing and how you want to face that. But it looks to have kind of your standard layout of talking about the environment you're going to, how to hook the characters in, and then play forward from there. Obviously all your GM stuff that's going to be there, and then your appendixes for the quick reference on which creatures you're going to be facing. And again, check out your standees, because the point of that box is to basically have all your creatures that you're going to need in here as well. And then a little butterflies dirge, a little more eerie kind of creepy looking one here for the 3 to 5. So once they've kind of got up there a little bit, to let them explore in there a little bit more and find out what's going on. Like I was saying, how to introduce your adventure right there. So if you don't really like coming up with it, makes it pretty easy for you. That took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, and there is a lot in here to explore and show off. It does have miniatures, a few of them. Oh, and I almost forgot the dice. It's a kind of a dull gold. Has the Fateforge symbol on it, but it's a metal heavy dice, so definitely a little bit of heft winging this thing around. Kind of the edges on it aren't as dull as you would think, but it's a pretty neat dice. Overall, I am very excited to jump into this. I kind of want to start reading some of these books, got to find some time, and then start getting a group together. Hopefully we'll do it soon. If you'd like to see some of the content of playing these games, or playing out a little bit more, kind of demoing some of the ideas of character creation, or just into the world more in general, give a comment down below, because I always thought it would be fun to record some game sessions and put them up on here. So let me know if that interests you. Don't forget to check out spellstorminterest.com. We also have links to like our Discord and a few other ways to support us. Please like and subscribe. It does do a bunch of good for us. Tell your friends about it. It's always an easy way to spread the word. Thanks for joining me.